All right, guys, we're live. Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us on SampleServe Masterclass Wednesdays. I'm Joshua Paul, Marketing Director of SampleServe. Today we got Russell Schindler, Founder and CEO of SampleServe, and Paul Goodrow of Vinoran Partners. Both of them have about a combined 70 years in the environmental services industry. They got a lot to talk about today. And Paul, give us a little rundown of what we do here on these Wednesdays.
Well, hopefully we have 70 more years of experience
Exactly.
in the near future, right? Well, welcome everybody. Thank you. I know your time is valuable. I've been in the business and I know that time is money. So thanks for joining us. You know what we do, I think we've done 16, maybe, Josh?
About 16, yep.
Yeah, and they're on our website and on YouTube. So if you want to look at prior master classes, just click in and grab them and send them to people if you think it's helpful. Our purpose is really just to share tips and tricks so that you can be as effective as possible with using our software. We always throw in a few commentaries and have some fun with it, but really the core purpose is to show you some ideas on how to better use our software. And if we have new functionality, we want to bring it to you as soon as possible.
It only take usually about 20 minutes. We try to keep it at 20 minutes at least. And if you have any comments, throw them in the chat. Even after this is over, we usually get to the comments. And if you think you know somebody that this would be helpful to, these links remain live even after this is over. Send a link over to them as well. So
yeah, Josh is usually the one that holds things up, so we'll keep you on track, okay, Josh?
Paul, yell at me if we're taking too long. All right, so today's all about Minnesota. As a lot of you guys know, Minnesota is now requiring electronic submittals starting November 15th. What does that mean, Paul?
Well, I can reflect back when I was working at the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency in 1980 through 82. I don't know how many god-awful years that is ago, but anyways, I remember we were working on a database then, and it just rolled out now. So 40 years later, they've rolled out their enterprise-level database management system, which for us, we look at as an opportunity. I mean, when I step back and look at where digital solutions are moving, we're pretty familiar with where it's going in the industry. We're in tune with our clients, so we know what their requirements are and we know what they need. But from a regulatory standpoint, obviously regulators are saying, we need that information in consistent format. If you're going to do a site investigation or a cleanup program, or if you're going to go out and sample wells for drinking water or whatever, we want to own that data. Obviously, they don't own it, but at least they have it resident in their database. And so, a few states already require formats and databases that are consistent across the regulatory agency. Minnesota's rolling out theirs. We're talking to Michigan about how they're going to do it here. And so I think it's part of the future. So we have to be ready for it. And when I think about our readiness and how we can help you, there's a couple of things. One, obviously, all the data you collect for sampling is digital in our tool. And so you don't have to transfer any data. You don't have to put any hard data in, keystroke it in. It's all collected digitally. Secondly, we have a digital platform in the cloud, which is our enterprise database, which you can use as your enterprise database. And so you don't need to manage your own enterprise database. And then thirdly, we can make the transfers easy. So they can be uploaded in the format that any state requires, in this case, Minnesota. So I think there are a lot of advantages to start with your digital solution at sample collection or scheduling so that, you're seamless, you're collecting it digitally, you're transferring it digitally into the format that's required by the regulator. So we're excited about it. We see it as, a great opportunity. We're not trying to compete with large enterprise level data management systems. We're here to really interface with the field and the enterprise system. We do have one. You can use it, but we understand that clients or consultants or third parties have database requirements that we need to be aligned with. So I'm sorry, Josh. I'm the one that's holding it up.
No, you're good. You said everything you needed to say.
One thing, thanks for clearing this up for me, Paul. I was looking at the Minnesota protocol and how they do things. And I was thinking looked like it was software made in the 90s, but apparently it was made in the 80s. And
it might have been. Yeah, I might have been on that work team.
Yeah. So I guess I would go for 80s too. So late 80s, but anyway.
That was a really basic relational data management system, right? So each sample had a unique number, which I understand the state requires for samples. And then it was an old clunky, relationship database that just, had fields and rows and columns. And if it was attached to that number, you got that data.
Yeah, there's no was. It still is old.
So what we want to do here today is we want to show that consulting firms in Minnesota have options. It's going to be hard to get your data digitally without especially if you're working just in Excel sheets. But you do have options besides what the state is really pushing. And what we want to show you today is a quick overview of how the SampleServe platform works. So I'm going to hand it over to Russell, and he's going to give you just a short demonstration of the Sample ENV platform and how it can help you. So go ahead, Russell, take it away.
Yep. Okay, you can see that?
Yeah, we're ready.
Okay. All right. So SampleServe is an entire platform that's got 4 main components to it that service individual user groups. The first part is the project management tool. And that's where you're going to set everything in there. You're going to set up your projects, when you're going to sample, where you're going to sample. You're actually going to connect with your laboratory as well through the platform, and you'll see how that works. And you'll see here that there is no cost for the project management tool. We then push the project, what you want to sample for, where you're going to sample, to our mobile field app. It can take pictures, GPS, prints labels in the field right at the time of sampling if you want that feature. It's very handy. Everything you need to do, it's custom forms, everything in the mobile field app. Again, this is available to you at no cost. Then we have a sister app for the laboratories that they can use to receive our unique samples. Our bottles have, our sample labels have QR codes that go on the lids of the bottles. Makes everything very efficient for the laboratory to receive those samples from the mobile field app. And then when the lab is done, using our database, they can push the data back, and you can generate all the common graphics that you would need for typical regulatory reports. And we do charge for the graphic report production, but you don't have to use it. That's one thing I want to make clear. It's an optional feature. You can use the first 3 parts, the first 2 parts if you're out there collecting samples, the labs, their part is free as well. So everything about data collection and submittal is free. So let me go a little bit deeper. We can push and pull data to any other platform out there, which we do. We can push data into Equus, out of Equus, Esri, these other platforms you may have heard of as well. And you'll see data flows. Ours all collected and stored on a central database. We actually use Google Cloud services, so it's very quick, secure, and reliable. And so here's just a quick video of our project management tool. It's very simple to use. It's mostly point and click. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. We just pick the dates you want. You're actually going to be able to connect with the laboratory and pull from their analytical menu. Pick the parameters you want. The labs actually populate the menu themselves with the right type bottles, the number of bottles they need. You pick the parameters you want, whether you want just groundwater elevation or a sample collected, handles all your QA, QC. You can build custom forms. You want to do a well inspection while you're out there, you can do that as well. And then you can actually create other forms that you want. Like you can print out a chain of custody if you want, even though we have a digital one. Some people still like to have that paper. And then there's a dashboard that's going to allow you to kind of see the entire schedule. You get a summary of the projects and everything real easily right up there front. You can sort the next event, last event. So it's very easy to see where everything's at. You just click on the name of the project and you enter that project. The mobile field app is actually designed to work offline. You do not have to have connectivity out in the field. You do have to download the project event while you're connected, but then while you're out in the field, you can do all your work with no connectivity. The mobile field app is available in both Android and Apple. And again, no charge for the mobile field app. The mobile field app is designed for simplicity in the field. We recommend using a stylus on a pen. As you may or may not know, gloved hands on a touchscreen don't work real well. But you can see our labels are printed in the field right at the time of sampling. The labels have everything on them that you would want on a typical label and then some. It's got a barcode along the side label and then a QR code that goes on the top. Our labels are unique in that they have 3 parts to them. One of those QR codes is designed to go on the lid of the container, and that's so that the labs can scan everything in without having to pick up each individual bottle. And then there's an optional QR code that can actually be left at the sample location. Let's say, for instance, you're doing asbestos sampling, or maybe you're sampling a drum. You can leave that QR code at the sample location, come back later after results have been posted to the platform, and you can actually scan that QR code and pull up the analytical results. Our field data is shipped right from the device, right at the time of sampling. It is, here's an example of our low flow sampling form. It's got all the low flow calculation numbers on there. Turns green when you've reached stability for that particular parameter. We show the last 3 photographs and a bunch of other information about the sampling. And you can share this from the field, provided you have connectivity in the field, right from the device with the project manager or the client. And you can share it both as a CSV file, so you have all the raw data, and as a PDF like you see here. So the cornerstone of our application is our digital chain of custody. We've got 2 issued patents on this, and we use a 3-part authentication on the user to verify who the user is. The first part is your username and password, right? Everyone knows never give up your password. You're also going to sign your name on the device every time you collect a sample or transfer custody, and you're going to take a selfie as well. So the 3-part authentication on the user. At the same time, we collect a date and time stamp and a GPS coordinate. So there's no question about who collected the sample, when you collected the sample, and where you were when that sample was collected. We have a capability of comparing where the sample collection location was at and compare it to the original sample location. And we can put in a warning whether you're outside that particular parameter. So there's no question about who, where, or when. You see he actually signed his name, took the selfie. Here's what our chain of custody looks like coming off of the device as an electronic file, a PDF and a electronic file. It looks like every other chain of custody you've ever seen. It's got all the lab information, turnaround time, who the client is, who you're going to invoice, all the dates and times, how many bottles per parameter, just like a regular chain of custody. Down here on the bottom is where it's going to be a little bit different. We've got who collected each sample, and then each transfer of all those samples. So you can see here a guy named Jake Cato collected all those samples up there. Jake then gave them to me, and then I took them to the laboratory. Down here, these are the samples that I collected, and then I took my samples to the laboratory. So what happens, we were out in the field, both of us sampling, end of the day, he gave me all his samples, and I took them all to the lab. So there's no question how each sample got to the lab. And then when the lab results are done, the lab pushes the data back into the platform in a number of different ways. They're all really easy, simpler than even putting an attachment on an email. That's how quickly and easy it can be pushed back to the platform. And then you're able to generate all kinds of graphics, data box maps, groundwater contours, ice chemical contours, all kinds of data tables, and all kinds of data graphs. We can even do an ice chemical contour on a cross section. We don't do the cross section yet, but soon, but we can do the ice chemical contour on your cross section. So for Minnesota and other states or any other projects that require an EDD export, here's a quick video. You actually just click the EDD export on the bottom, hit export. It's going to take all the data from that particular sampling event or the entire project, however you set it up, and it's going to export all the files in an Equus compatible upload. So we've already been doing this for well over a year now, so we can export it to Equus, which is what Minnesota is using. So it's really simple to get your data and export it out without spending a lot of time. So it's great for all kinds of projects, phase 1s, and are not phase 1s, phase 2s, phase 3s, soil sampling, remediation systems, soil vapor, surface water, wastewater, sediment, and as I mentioned earlier, asbestos as well. Typical project cost using the application, we're saving people bottom line about 40 to 60% of their overall sampling and report preparation costs. We save field people about 20% of the time because they're not spending time filling out labels or chains of custody. The chain of custody is done for you in just a couple of milliseconds. But the biggest cost savings on all the report preparation graphics. So overall savings is 40 to 60%. And most people want to then know what the price is. So as I mentioned, the project management tool, the field app, and the lab app are all free forever, not a free trial, it's free forever. We do charge a small fee for the report preparation for all the graphics that can be generated. You can generate a full suite of graphics in under 5 minutes with all the current data, all customized to your liking as well. So we do charge for that Equus export. It's going to be about $4 a sample. So if you only want the Equus export, it's going to $4 to have that export. And then we do offer volume discounts. And if you want the reporting functionality, that's between $7 and $12. And if you pay for the reporting, the Equus export is included. So, it's not plus. If you want Equus and reporting, it's not added together. It's just pay the reporting and Equus is included. And then unlimited parameters. We don't care how many parameters you're testing for. One chemical or 1,000 doesn't matter. All your historical data is free. When you set up your project in our system, everything prior to that date you can upload. There's no charge for it, and you can report on it. We only charge for samples going forward. And then unlimited users. You can have everyone in your company have an account, no extra charge. The way we look at it is more users means more samples. There are no other fees. There's no startup fee. There's no monthly fee. There's no annual fee. You only pay based on samples you've collected going forward when you start the project. And we bill you per project. So that way you can actually take that invoice and just pass that on to your customer if you want to. So it's not you don't have to build it into your overhead for your company, just per project billing, which a lot of customers like. And so that's it.
Well done. That's the fastest I've heard you go through that, Russell.
Yeah.
So one thing I wanted to add is the ease of getting started on the Sample EMV platform is as easy as going to SampleServe.com, starting your account, and get some data uploaded, some wells, some sampling sites. Start with some maps. Start planning events. Go out in the field. Start collecting data digitally, and then once you have it all back on the platform, it's one click of a button to get it back up to the state.
Yeah.
Right?
So most users are able to, especially younger people, they can pick it up and just start. It's very intuitive. So they just pick it up and they start using it and they can figure it out. And that's really what we designed it for, is to be very intuitive and simple to use. And reliable as well.
The nice thing about the project management tool, Russell, is that there's no downloads required. There's no desktop app. There's no zip files and file name changes and complicated stuff. It's
all
just
web-based. You're going to need a connectivity to the cloud, but it's all web-based, very quick, designed to be very intuitive, simple to use, inviting other users, real simple. You can invite at different levels. There's actually training videos embedded throughout the whole platform, so you don't have to watch one big, long training video or actually go to a different spot for training. You can be working, want to learn how to use a feature, click a little button, pops up a video, doesn't change the screen. Videos are between 1 and 4 minutes long, teach you how to use that particular feature. Click outside the screen, puts you back to right where you started, and then you know how to use that feature. So, and it's, I'm actually very proud of our training program embedded into the system, because it actually saves us a ton of online training time, right? So we don't have to spend time training you, because you can just train on your own and at your own speed.
Yeah, I think we summed it up there pretty good. Paul, I know you're just waiting to say something. You want to get it out?
We got to get speeded up here, man. We're almost to our 20 minutes.
We're done with the demo, Paul. Take us home, man.
Very good. Nice.
Yeah.
Well done.
Take it home, Paul.
Want me to take it home?
Yeah.
Do you have any other slides, or do I have to wing it?
No,
we're ready, man.
No more slides? Wow. Okay. Well, like I said, Russell, this is the fastest I've seen you go through the demo, but it is very intuitive. I mean, I've looked at it over and over again. I've been in several demos. I've worked with Mike, our programmer, and others to understand the system, and it's very simple. It's not 1982. It's current. And so if you're looking for a really easy to use application, digital solution do that. We also have 2 other solutions. You've talked about ENV and you've talked about lab. We also have H2O, which is for not high intensity, but fewer samples collected by maybe novice sample collectors, a homeowner, the house inspector, the county commissioner, whoever it might be. It's primarily focused for potable water, house water, and it can be done on a phone, and it makes it super simple. A lot of labs use that. And SWR, which is our sewer collection system, which is similar to all these, but it just facilitates the access and the deployment of multiple sewer locations, being able to collect those samples, taking them to the lab, and getting the reporting out. So we have other products. We tend to focus on EMV, but there are other webs or videos on our website if you're interested. So
yeah, and if you want to go back and watch some of our previous episodes, the link is in the comments. We got about 16 of them on there now. So, all right, I think that's good for today, guys.
Great.
Thank you, Russell. Thank you, Paul. We're going to end it here. And make sure if you know anybody that you want this to be shown to, give this link share to them, and comment something in the comments. We'll get back to you when this is over, too. So
All right.
keep a lookout for next week's, and thank you guys. Have a good afternoon.
thank you.